It's a name whispered in fear on the streets of Los Angeles, but also in the suburbs of Atlanta, the farmlands of Washington, and the boroughs of New York City. Sureño. To most, it means Southerner, but in the American underworld, it's a declaration of war, a pledge of allegiance to one of the most powerful and violent prison gangs in history. The story begins not on the streets, but inside the brutal crucible of the California prison system. In the late 1960s, a bloody war erupted between Hispanic inmates from Southern California, loyal to the newly formed Mexican Mafia, or La M, and inmates from the rural north who organized as Nuestra Familia. From this war, two identities were forged in blood. The northerners became norteños, and the southerners, the foot soldiers for the Mexican Mafia, became sureños. Their identity is defined by one thing: loyalty to La M, symbolized by the number 13. M is the 13th letter of the alphabet. But how did this California conflict go national? The expansion wasn't a top-down invasion, it was more like a criminal franchise. The Mexican Mafia provided the brand, the name, the symbols, the reputation. Local gangs across the country then adopted this brand to gain power and intimidate rivals. This happens in three ways. First, direct migration, where established California members move to a new state to set up shop. Second, and most common, is local co-option, where local gangs with no California ties simply adopt the Sureño name to leverage its fearsome reputation. And third, hybrid formation, where scattered members from different gangs unite under the Sureño banner for protection in a new city. Today, that blue tide has washed over at least 35 states. These are the stories of the Sureño cliques operating far beyond California's borders. The Pacific Northwest was one of the first regions to experience the Sureño migration. In Tacoma, Washington, the East Side Locotes Surenos established a foothold, bringing classic urban gang warfare to the city's east side. Further east, in Pasco, the Mexican Pride set showed their deep-seated identity. During one arrest, federal agents found a member's firearm with Sureño insignia literally carved into its frame, a permanent mark of allegiance. In Oregon, the conflict is a direct import from California. In 2022, the rivalry between Sureños and Norteños exploded into public view when a shootout erupted inside the Salem Center Mall. Cliques like Westside 18th Street and Hillside 12th Street aren't just fighting for turf, they're continuing a war that began in a California prison yard 50 years ago. But it's in Idaho where we see the full evolution of a Sureño clique. The Brown Magic Clique, or BMC, grew from a street gang into a sophisticated criminal enterprise, prompting a massive federal RICO investigation. Their crimes included attempted murder, drug trafficking, and witness intimidation, all directed by a leader from inside an Idaho state prison cell using a contraband phone. The BMC proved that the Mexican Mafia's model of running street operations from behind bars could be perfectly replicated anywhere in the country. In the American South, Sureños have adapted to new criminal landscapes. In Oklahoma City, the Southside Locos ran a massive drug trafficking ring stretching all the way to Mexico. And just like in Idaho, the entire operation shipments, sales, and money collection was controlled by leaders using smuggled cell phones from inside Oklahoma State prisons. Texas presents a unique challenge with powerful homegrown gangs like Tango Blast. But the Sureno 13 have carved out their territory. In Corpus Christi, a member was caught running a drug house, selling meth and heroin while armed with an AK-47, a sign of their commitment to defending their market share with military-grade force. Perhaps the most striking example of the Sureño franchise model is in Atlanta, Georgia. There, a local gang calling itself Sur 13 went on a terrifying weekend-long crime spree involving carjackings, armed robberies, and a police chase that ended in death. Law enforcement believes this clique has no direct ties to California. They simply co-opted the name and the violence associated with it to build a reputation from scratch. They are the ultimate second-hand Sureños, proving the idea of the gang is as dangerous as the gang itself. The Sureño expansion didn't stop in the South. In North Carolina, Sur 13 is now one of the most widespread gangs in the state, with a presence in over 20 counties, fueled by a constant migration of members from California and Texas. In Virginia, we see their criminal portfolio diversify. A member of the Sur 13 in Manassas was convicted of sex trafficking a 14-year-old girl. It was a chilling reminder that these gangs are opportunistic, exploiting any market drugs, weapons, or human beings to make a profit. The blue tide has even reached the 5 boroughs of New York. Here, the Chateau Park Loco Sureños, a clique of the infamous 18th Street Gang, brought a new level of brutality. A key member recently pleaded guilty to a racketeering conspiracy that included two murders. In one, he lured a suspected informant upstate, had him stabbed to death, and ordered the killing to be video recorded. In the other, he shot and killed a man in Queens he merely suspected of being a rival. The Sureño Wars were now being fought on the streets of New York City. From Washington to New York, the story is the same. The Sureño identity has proven to be incredibly resilient and adaptable. It's not a corporation you can bankrupt or an army you can defeat in a single battle. Law enforcement calls it a hydra-headed threat. Taking down one clique in one city does nothing to stop another from rising in a different state. The Sureño name has evolved from a simple prison identity into one of America's most successful and dangerous criminal concepts. A franchise of violence exported from California and now open for business in a neighborhood near you.